Hey everybody, welcome back to the College Football Uncensored Podcast, brought to you by Saturday Down South. I'm your host, Tyler Huck, and with me, as always, my co-host, partner in crime, Chris Marler. Chris, nice shirt, buddy.
I look great right now. I don't care how it sounds. I'm going to gas myself up until I'm sad again, because that'll happen for sure. I'm very excited about what's going on. I took a picture on Friday, and it was like the skinniest I've looked in years. But thanks, yeah, it's a great shirt. It's cool.
Is that a breaking tee?
It is.
Cool. All right.
Well, I don't know if we're allowed, I don't know if we have a working relationship with them. I hope we do, because I love Jamie.
No free ads.
Yeah, and I also got into an argument with one of their employees after the national championship. So still say it's not my fault. Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm great. Nice little weekend with the family.
Okay. What's that?
Just a lot of there was baby showers.
Oh God.
There was a wedding shower. Basically, I was stuck babysitting the kids all weekend.
This anymore. Yeah. I wish I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Not because it's not interesting. It's because it's not interesting, and you brought up a wedding shower. So,
my bad.
I added a new thing to my. I didn't add it personally, but a new thing in my drop down on Google was added. Divorce. Chris Muller divorce is now searchable, which happy to say that I haven't been divorced yet.
Yeah, it's a lie. Not everything you read on the internet is true.
True. Except for my height on dating apps and my weight I'll tell you this real quick. I told you I've been doing that like workout transformation thing, this online coach. It's incredible. He's done really well. It worked for me last year. And I feel like I've done really well, but I've also been just like, I'll let you in on a secret. I've been lying about my weight to him.
So yeah, it seemed like you're having better results.
Not better results, but just like, okay, so it's like a month and a half in, I said I've lost 7 pounds. I am confident that I have lost 7 pounds.
Okay.
Now I'm ballparking it. I don't know, but also it's only been
could be 8.
Could be 8, could be 3. Who knows? A lot of muscle mass, maybe. Probably not that, but there was like, it's only been like actually 5 weeks. Today was 6, and I tapered it off, and I said I didn't gain or lose any pounds this week. But I've just been lying about my weight. It's such like just really torrid pace there. I don't know if I can keep up with it.
So on that note, how much can you lie on a dating app before it's noticeable when you finally meet up with the person? Like, you could say, like, how tall are you? 6'1"?
Yeah.
Is that a lie?
No, I'm 6'1".
Okay.
I used to tell my ex Ashley that I was 5'11"3/4 just to make her upset.
So could you get away with 6'2.5" and then meet
Absolutely
up in person and be like, they're like, no, it's a total lie? Like, what could you get away with on a lie basis on the app before it's obvious in person that you lied?
If I'm going to lie about anything, it's going to be my credit score. It's not going to be anything about my height. My height's fine.
Do people drop their credit score on dating apps?
I don't know, but I mean, just just so you guys know, this is where I'm at right now. Still room for improvement.
6'1", 200, 790 credit score, and
not even close. But no, like I was like, I figured out who I was telling this. What was it? Like I signed up for Hinge, because apparently, like on Tinder and Bumble. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. We're gonna get into it though. You have to pay to see who likes you, which is kind of fucked up.
Isn't that the point? Okay,
remember back in the day though, you didn't have to do that.
I've never been on. I started dating my wife before the apps were cool. So cool. I don't.
So you guys just got engaged, and then just this UNC Syracuse game is incredible. You guys just got engaged and got married. I've heard stories of that, but it's not. I haven't experienced that per se.
We dated for 4 years, but
cool. Happy for you. So anyway, no, so you have to like, now like on Bumble, you have to like pay. It's not like necessarily cheap. I think Bumble's like, there's one thing you get for like $8, but like Tinder's like $25 a month just to see who likes you. And I paid that $25, Tyler, and it was offensive at the people who had liked me. I'm just going to say it. I'm not trying to sound arrogant or get ahead of my skis.
So if you swipe right and the other person swipes right, even if you don't pay, you'll know, because that's the point of the app. But if you pay, you can see who swipes right on you, even if you don't swipe right on them. Is that what I'm getting?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, isn't the point of the app that like if someone swipes right on you and you swipe right on them, that you would match and then meet.
And it doesn't even show you anymore that's like, it's a match. Or maybe I just didn't have any. I don't know, at the same time. But like, so I got on Hinge because I heard that was like the better one. And I didn't know that I had done this, but I had apparently attached my Instagram to
the profile.
Yeah. And like, you know how I've been an open book about this whole thing. And so like one of the last posts was like me, like on New Year's Eve being like, hey guys, just want to say thanks for helping me not kill myself this year. It's great. Like, or like whatever it was. Right.
Yeah. Not exactly the opening thing you want to be.
It wasn't. No. And it got brought up multiple times. I was like, why are all these girls, they're really like, why are you searching all this at 7:30 a.m.? But it was my fault apparently, which is kind of a consistent theme. Anyway, I don't know how much you can get away with like lying on there. I don't know how much I would want to.
Well, we're kind of in a weird time right now because we're about to get into a great time with college basketball, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But otherwise, you've got MLB that's in a lockout. You've got, I mean, obviously college football. We're about to start up spring practice. Some people have already started up spring practice.
I think Justin Sue in the SEC.
Yeah, and then the NBA. It's like, okay, does anybody really care? It's just a sad time. I'm sadder than Marlo right now when it comes to sports.
Are you really?
I think so.
Well, see, okay. I think that's because like for baseball season for me, opening day is a blast.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's the best. Like after that, like maybe in the summer going to games and stuff like that, like when it's like at night game and I'm not going to sweat my tits off the whole time. And then like the pennant race, I can't be all in for like 162 games. So I'm gambling on it, which I intend not to do.
But see, for me, what I love about baseball, because you're right, you're not going to just intently watch every single game, 162 games, but it's nice.
Watch the games I was involved in.
When it's a Wednesday night and you're just hanging out at home and you're just like, man, I'm scrolling through the same 15 Netflix shows that I don't really want to watch. It's like, it's nice to just, even if it's just white noise in the background, just to have, in my case, the Braves on. Okay, whatever, whatever you want to say. Just in the background. And, you can glance up every once in a while. Maybe you haven't missed anything. Maybe you have, but it's just nice,
That's fair.
Right now, I'm forced to throw on like like Syracuse.
Supposed to mean
Syracuse and UNC. It's like, do you really care?
Not at all. No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, like I would have in like 2002. I don't right now.
That would have been a sick matchup.
Yeah, probably so. I think
Johnny Flynn, bro. Come on.
I don't know who that is, but the only time I ever was like following Syracuse basketball was when Big Daddy came out, which was like 1998 in 7th and 8th grade or something like that. And they started out like 21-0. And I was like, I'm getting a Syracuse shirt from East Bay, bro. Big Hughes fan. Probably one of them. Anyway, okay, but so we were going to talk about this anyway, the baseball thing with Manfred.
Is there a worse commissioner in sports?
No, there's not. So I was going to ask you, like, serious question. Who's worse, him or Kevin Warren?
Putin?
Putin is really bad. He is, I'm going to say it, not a great person.
He seems like a dick, honestly.
He does, yeah. He's got that whole, like, Steve Harvey confidence where he'll, like, take pictures with his shirt off, but he shouldn't.
Right.
Also,
or like threaten people with nukes.
That's another thing. And I know Steve Harvey hasn't done that. So, and I probably shouldn't have compared them at all in hindsight. It's just, we would take that sound clip out, Dan.
Ways to get canceled.
Yeah. No, he's the worst. He is the absolute worst.
No. So the commissioner, who?
The commissioner, Kevin Warren. Hold on, real quick.
Okay, I got you.
I posted this today. This is the only thing I'm going to say about the Ukraine thing, because I don't know. I haven't watched news since the breakup, and it's been one of the healthiest things I've done.
I'll tell you, Ukraine's in a war with Russia.
Well, I know that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But like it used to just be on the house, like on the house, like all the time. So I'm not really watching as much anymore, or at all anymore. I did see today, and I know this is not the point. But I try to find humor in like everything. And there was something from one of my favorite Instagram handles. You guys should all follow it. It's called Tank's Good News. It's the guy who does Tank Sinatra. And it's just like just a feed of nonstop good news and like feel good stories and like puppies and shit like that. And it was, what was it? It was like something about how like this teacher is still teaching her kindergarten class in like a bunker. Even though
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm going to say it.
You should.
If we were at war and we still didn't have class canceled, I'd be pretty fucking pissed.
Right.
So that's all. That's my take. Don't be afraid to cancel class, guys.
All right. And that's going to conclude our Ukraine talk. We'll get in and out of there as fast as Art Briles was at Grambling State.
That was a weird hire.
And you say was because he's already left. He resigned.
This is, another hot take. Art Briles, checkered past.
By the way, elite news drop by Grambling State. They dropped that news about an hour after Russia invaded Ukraine. They just threw it out there.
Was planned. I don't think that was planned at all.
I think now's a good time to drop this.
That seems, I don't know. If it was, good for you, Grambling. Like, I don't think they were waiting for like, okay, listen, we have to wait for World War III. Just absolutely have to. No, my favorite thing about that was that he, quote unquote, resigned.
Yeah.
And they made, like, a lot of times when people do that, like they're trying to save face. And he was like, I feel like I'm gonna be a distraction. Like, yeah, no shit, Art. No shit. There's not been a less believable resignation than maybe Nixon about than Art Briles was today from Grambling.
Hugh Jackson, getting it done.
Yeah, love it.
So where were we? The MLB lockout, I think, is where we were trying to go.
We've covered a lot of things so far.
So yeah, the commissioner, obviously, I think he's worse than Kevin Warren at this point. Kevin Warren's pretty bad. They both are trying to keep us from our sports. But Manfred, I mean, could the guy be more tone deaf? I mean, honestly.
What's the latest with it? Because I haven't.
So they're meeting. So we're recording this. It is Monday, February 28th. It's 9:00 at night. Apparently, they're going back for like a 6th round today because today was supposedly the deadline of when they were supposed to get something done before they actually start canceling regular season games. The latest on Twitter is that there actually may be some sort of movement to where they may push the deadline back one more day because they could be getting close to agreeing on something. But I'm just so sick of this. I mean, Manfred came out and basically said that it's like not a winning investment to own a baseball team. And then you don't, if you own a baseball team, you're not exactly like entitled or guaranteed to make a ton of money off of it. Then the next day the Braves came out, since they're owned by a publicly traded company, so it has to be reported, and they made like so much damn money just in the Q4, which was basically 1 month of baseball.
Well, it's also a pretty big month for them. Might not be our best example. Yeah.
But that was just 1 month, and it was like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
So nobody really wants to hear him say that kind of shit.
I agree with that.
So I'm sad because the Braves obviously won the World Series. I want to see them defend, and I feel like, I got a couple of buddies that are actually attorneys that do like arbitration stuff for baseball that think, at least as of 2 weeks ago, that shit wouldn't get popping off for the MLB till June.
It wouldn't get popping off.
Which, as you know,
shit wouldn't get popping off, y'all. Until when? Until
June. Now, I think there's probably a more rosy timeline now, but as of a couple weeks ago, that's what he was saying.
Okay.
All I know is whenever the news comes down that we're out of a lockout, I don't know.
That sucks.
But all I know is when we do come out of the lockout, it is going to be a frenzy of free agent activity. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Why?
Because they're not allowed to do any trading or negotiating while there's a lockout.
Oh my gosh, I hate.
But that agents and teams are talking behind the scenes. Yeah. It's like when there's like the no tampering in the NBA, and then like all of a sudden, right when it hits midnight, every single free agent signs.
Yeah, for sure. Like the NIL deal last year when it was like, okay, no one can do anything until this date, and then it's like it's at midnight. Bo Nix was like, I love tea.
Yeah, exactly. So that worked out well for him there at Auburn. So anyways, Until then, we've got college baseball, which has been fun. I wanted to
Mhm.
talk about Tommy Tanks.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. And then we're going to talk about football as well, just so everyone knows.
So for those that haven't been watching, which, I don't know that many of our listeners tune into NC State baseball, but they are a top 10 ranked team. There's a kid named Tommy White. They call him Tommy Tanks.
They went to the World Series last year, right?
And then they were kicked out because of the COVID.
That's right, yeah.
Which makes a ton of sense. He's a true freshman. He played at IMG. And he has 9 home runs in the first 8 games of the season.
That is so many. That is so many home runs.
He has 29 RBIs in the first 8 games. His OPS is 2.062, which is very difficult to do.
OPS was not a thing when I played. It was on base percentage.
Yeah. And it includes power, and it's a mixture of things.
Right.
And you would think, like in the age of baseball now, it's a lot of home runs, but a lot of strikeouts. He struck out 3 times. 9 home runs. He has hit more home runs than 260 of the 301 Division I college baseball teams, and 9 home runs in his first 8 career games. No one in MLB history has done that. Now, it's not the MLB.
MLB. Yeah, what?
Yeah, but it's just incredible. Tommy Tanks. He's got guys like Bill Simmons, who I don't think you'd ever think Bill Simmons would tweet about college baseball, tweeting about him. So Tommy Tanks, you got to look out for him in the NCAA baseball. See what he does. He hit 5 home runs in his senior year at IMG.
He hit 5 total?
Yeah.
Pitching around him, bro. Okay. Well, I know that, let's see here. I'm bringing up I'm not going to do the standings, but I mean, we're covering this, but I haven't really been paying attention to it. If I'm being honest, I'm sure Bama got swept because they were playing Texas. I've been keeping up way more with basketball, which has been entertaining as shit.
It's been a good season for the SEC.
Yeah, it has. Okay, Texas remains number 1 after they did sweep Bama, got that. Ole Miss at 6, Vandy at 7, LSU. I tell you what's crazy to me is that Mississippi State has dropped for the 2nd straight week, and they are 11th. But there's 4 SEC teams in the top 10, 8 total in the top 25, and all 8 are in the top 20. Oh, here's a stat for you. And I don't know the exact number, but we talked about this morning in our conference call. Tennessee, who plays in a bandbox of a stadium, but is still a fantastic offensive team. They're outscoring opponents 117-7.
Yo.
Yeah. And that's not women's basketball. I'm talking about baseball. This for the whole season. They got a kid that's throwing 103.
I saw that kid. He had 104 on the gun.
That is 104? I guarantee you my car will not go 104 miles an hour. I mean, the AC is not going to work for sure.
Chris, you got to change the oil every once in a while.
I need an oil change badly, but I'm afraid if I take it in, they're going to be like, hey, there's a big, huge dent in the front bumper. I'm like, yeah, no, I crashed, but I just need the oil change, guys.
Also, I don't know if you were aware, but you're supposed to have brakes in the car.
I have those. No, so back to baseball thing real quick. I mean, I think it's early in the season, obviously, right? And I'm not going to project late in the year, but the fact that you still have 8 teams in the top 20, and you have teams like Florida who they had I forgot the kid's name. It's Jeb or Jed something. Who
sounds right?
Yeah, thanks, man. Was I think going to be a top 5 pick in the draft last year, but ended up not having that great of a season, so he had to come back. But the fact that you have Mississippi State down at 11, that's not a bad ranking. That's horribly low compared to where they usually are. Horribly low. So I think once these teams get going, yeah. Well, so they probably shouldn't be 11, to be honest.
No, they play Grambling this week.
Did they win?
They play them tomorrow.
No. Anyway, I think once some of those teams get going, it obviously should. I don't know. It'll be even better for the SEC because they just dominate usually the top 10. Vandy is always really good. The only team that really went up in the top, what do you call it? LSU went up, and then Ole Miss. That's it from the top 10. So
I really want to go to an LSU baseball game.
We can go anytime you want to go. We can go. We've been invited for from Mickey Cherami all the time, and Chris Gordy.
I've heard they're quite fun.
Yeah, it's fair.
It is fair. All right, from baseball, should we just talk football, or should we skip to basketball real quick?
Let's probably talk football.
All right.
Yeah.
So
it would have been a seamless transition though about basketball because of the rankings thing and how
crazy last weekend was.
I'll overthink it.
Should we just sit here in silence until we decide?
We'll do a fan vote, even though this doesn't come out until tomorrow.
Well, let's touch on basketball, then we'll end on everything football.
Okay.
Basketball.
So
crazy ass weekend.
Unprecedented. I mean, first off, Florida State, incredible game. You want to tell listeners what happened?
That shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been a bad year for the team. A lot of injuries, so they're not even going to make the tournament. But they played at UVA this past weekend, and they gave up a basket with like exactly 1 second left to go down like by
0.4.
But then they reset it to 1, okay. I think, to go down by 2. So basically, and they were having to throw the pass in from the baseline all the way down, and essentially kind of ran the baseline, ran the baseline, kind of pump fake. So the guy jumped up, waited till he landed, baseball pass all the way down, and the guy just basically in one motion caught it, shot a 3 and switched it to beat UVA by 1. That was fantastic.
Yeah. But outside of that,
Matthew Cleveland, by the way, local Atlanta product.
Nice.
Hit the shot.
Outside of that, you had the all top six teams in the country lost. All top 6. That's never happened before, which is insane. What pisses me off about this, and I'm going to, like, you guys know I haven't exactly been like, I don't know, been the most adamant about staying on top of college basketball the entire season. And despite, like, leading my team one time in church league basketball when we were like 12, I don't know that much about basketball. What I will say is Auburn is continuously getting screwed by the rankings, just continuously. It's atrocious.
What makes you say that?
Okay, so you look at this weekend, right? Like I said, all 6 teams lost. Auburn, who was, I think, second, they were third. They dropped to 5, right? Which is not bad. But the fact that Arizona, I mean, again, all 6 teams lost. Like, but the fact that Arizona and Gonzaga didn't move at all blows my mind. Mainly because of the fact that, like, both of those teams got blown out. Like, Gonzaga lost by 10 in their, I don't know, 11th game this season against St. Mary's. If you told me they played every single game against St. Mary's, I'd believe you. But it was like, they lost by 10. They were down by, I think at one point, like 16. And then Arizona gets blown out on the road at Colorado. They don't move. And Arizona is also a team that lost at Tennessee. So it's not like the loss at Tennessee, who's ranked, is a bad loss for Auburn. They continue to get screwed I know that a lot of Auburn fans, they bring up the whole, like, we're a blue blood, and it's a whole joke, like running joke on Twitter. But the fact that, like, they aren't a blue blood, it's very clear to me that whoever's voting in the AP top 25 for men's basketball are defaulting every single week and every time they get a chance to the blue bloods in the rankings. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense that those teams wouldn't drop if they lost on the road at Tennessee.
The first time in the history of the AP poll that the top 6 teams all lost on a Saturday.
That's crazy.
It's never happened before. On top of that, number 9, Texas Tech also lost. But yeah, it was the first. Well, really, I said it was the first Saturday. It's the first time ever, not just on a Saturday, but it's the first time ever since the AP poll began in the 1948-49 season that all of the top 6 AP teams have lost.
Oh, so it has happened before. Okay.
No, first time ever.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I was right. Trust your instincts, Chris. Always. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of crazy. The SEC. Another thing too here, Arkansas continues to stay hot. They have a big win at home against Kentucky, which is a fantastic game. JD Note was incredible. That was a lot of fun to watch. But the fact that he had 30. At one point, I thought he was going to go for 40 because I was like, he just put in, like, he had 28 or something like that with, like, I don't know, 12 minutes left. But no, I think that, like, Arkansas, I think going into the game, they were ranked 18th. and they were projected as a 6 seed. If we're just doing basic math, and there are 4 different like brackets, right? 4 different regions in a 64, I know 68, but basically a 64 team tournament. 18th would fall as a number 4 seed or a number 5 seed. It would not fall as a number 6 seed. That makes no fucking sense. And I hate everything that I'm having to learn about basketball. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've given up on all the quad 1, quad 2, quad 3 net rankings. I don't get anything about college basketball anymore at this point.
Good. So if we have to report on it in March, which we will, we're a very trustworthy source.
I'll be studying. Hey, we're College Football Uncensored for a reason.
That's true. That's fair. Let's get into some football talk.
Yes. All right. So something that is happening this week, I'm sure there are a lot of schools around the country that are starting spring practice this week, but tomorrow, March 1st, starts the NFL Combine.
Love it. It's my favorite.
So I ask you, what is your favorite NFL Combine story of all time?
I mean, we had the same one.
It's SEC related.
It's SEC related and it's penis related. And you know, after last week, we're a big penis pod. Not in size, but we're just saying, you know.
Well, that too. Obviously.
Okay, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway.
No problem.
When Chris Jones from Mississippi State at his combine, and I remember watching this live and I was like, did his dick just pop out? He tripped after crossing the finish line at the 40 in the 40-yard dash. He tripped and his like briefs or whatever you want to call it got caught in the AstroTurf and yanked down, and his dick pops out on like not national television, but not national television. Anyway, that would have been mine. And I know we had the same one, which is weird for both of us, I guess.
Yeah. Well, before we recorded, I was like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same one for this. We've got the little notes that we try to have for the layout of the podcast.
Yeah.
And one of the things said, favorite NFL Combine moment. And before we even recorded, I was like, I know we have the same one. He was like, was it Chris Jones and the dick? And I was like, yep.
Yeah, it was incredible. Anyway, but I mean, also, you want to tell the other one?
Yeah, also another great one, Deion Sanders. So this is going back pre-TV Combine. But tons of good stories coming out for him. He was set up to do an interview with the New York Giants, who were picking 10th that year. And he essentially basically showed up and said, this is a complete waste of time. I'm not following y'all, so I'm not going to do the interview. Which is just awesome.
That was the best part, though.
What was the best part?
The best part is when he lined up to run the 40. And I think, did he run a 4.2? I think he ran a 4.2, or it was like a 4.19. Like, because Bo Jackson, I can't remember who had I don't think it's an official time, but there was either Bo Jackson ran either a 4.12 or a 4.19 as it was reported. But this is also in the time of hand timing.
So he showed up, he ran a 4.3, and everyone was like, okay, well that'll probably be it.
Yeah.
He gets up and runs another one, runs a 4.27 official. Some people clocked him on a 4.25. And as soon as he finished, he continued to ran, waved to everybody, and goes right through the tunnel, and no one ever saw him again.
Well, they did. They definitely saw him again. But no, he ran outside of the entire place, like of the entire like field or Reno, not Reno, but you know what I mean, like stadium. Yeah. And then just got in a limo and left. Like, that's the most boss ass move ever.
He didn't even stretch. He said his quote was, "I've never seen a cheetah stretch before he goes and gets his prey."
Well, yeah, because they don't have thumbs. They can't grab their legs. That's simple. He needs to learn more about anatomy from animals in the jungle. I'll say that.
Yeah, stop stealing recruits too.
Oh God, here we go.
Anyways,
also another Deion Sanders moment was, and everyone's seen this by now, but is when some white safety from Penn State lined up to run, and he ran a 4.35, and he goes, "Oh, this boy can run," and he was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, Why didn't you think he could? And he's like, you know why? I can't say it on TV, but you know why. And it was like, it's like he's white. That was another great moment. Okay,
I got a hot take on the combine real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think the 40-yard dash means shit.
I think you're definitely wrong. Not as much as it used to, but like,
let me run through the fastest times at the 40. I'll just go through the names. I won't even go through the times.
okay. No, go through the times.
Okay, fine. Well, they're all very similar. They're all under 4.3. John Ross, 4.22. That's the fastest.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd say Chris Johnson stands out here, but let me go through the list of everyone under a 4.3. You tell me which one of these guys had a notable career. John Ross, Chris Johnson,
the point. Oh my God.
Dree Archer, Jerome Mathis, Henry Ruggs, Marquise Goodwin, Stanford Rout, Tyrone Calico, Jalen Myrick, J.J. Nelson, Jacoby Ford, Fabian Washington, Javelin Goudry.
That's not a real person.
Zedric Woods.
These aren't real people.
They're all. Zedric Woods played for Ole Miss.
Stanford Rout is like a goal line play in NCAA 14 for one. A guy named Javelin, they named him Javelin.
Javelin Guidry from Utah.
That is absurd. Okay, of course he's from Utah.
So none of those guys we've ever heard of, really.
Okay, that's not true at all. And also, that's not the point of like what happens at the combine and why it matters. It's because the prospects beforehand, like where were they ranked beforehand? If you don't think the 40 matters,
it probably matters for their pockets, but I'm talking about
in the long run.
Yeah, these guys were all probably drafted on their speed. None of them made a difference.
Okay.
Except for Chris Johnson.
Sure. I think that, yeah, that's not the point though. Like the whole point of the combine is like, they call it like the underwear Olympics, is to like make as much money by doing just like, field day as possible.
Well, okay, so let me backtrack.
What if they made him do a real field day though?
That'd be sick. We get the big parachute.
Well, again, like a sack race, like a potato sack race, that'd be awesome.
No, but what I'm saying is these guys, yes, they probably made themselves money, but did any of these guys make a difference in the NFL?
Like off the field, I can tell you right now that Henry Ruggs did not. I will also tell you, but okay, here's the thing.
Unless you're a big Dree Archer guy. I don't know.
I'm a big Javelin, whatever his name was. But like that, I don't even know how to argue this because that's not the point of running. Like, it's not the point of running the 40. It's the whole point of the combine is to increase your like standing with the draft and like where you are currently versus where you're going to be drafted. I don't understand. Like,
absolutely. What I'm saying is none of these guys, they probably enhanced their own personal profile and got drafted higher, but did they actually make a difference when they were drafted for a team?
Well, I mean, either way, teams are going to fall for it every time. The worst.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a hot take. It might be a hot take, but I don't think that the 40-yard dash really proves anything, except that you're fast.
I mean, okay, I don't know how to have this argument with you. It's first off, it's like hands down the most exciting part of the combine, besides maybe the bench press. The worst one, the example you should have brought up was Darius Hayward-Bay, who was a receiver from Maryland, and this is the most Raiders thing ever. He ran a 4.3 flat, I believe. And I
think the Raiders drafted like half these guys.
Oh, I'm sure they did. He ran a 4.3 flat and he jumped up into like his hands. I'm not making this up. His hands were rated an F.
Which is an important trait to have when you're a receiver.
Almost arguably the most important part. So they got rated an F, and that's on a scholastic grading scale here, guys, like an academic grading scale, like A through F. I don't know if it was an F plus. Either way, it was an F. And he ran a 4.3, and that was the dumbest pick in maybe in NFL draft history, possibly. But I mean, it's think about how many players have run the 40, and it has like increased their drafts. Like, I don't know why you went to under 4.3. Like the best part of the 40 is the people that like run.
I'm just saying the fastest guys, none of them have made a difference in the NFL. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Jesus Christ. All right. Let's just move on. So combine notes, and I guess like from the SEC standpoint here, I'm so thrown off that you even made this argument. It's so stupid. I will tell you, I think
it's a great argument.
I guess, but it's like, that's not the point of the combine. Well, let's talk about this for a second. Have you ever taken the Wonderlic?
No, I should.
Me and Connor took it one time.
How'd it go for you?
I got a 47.
All right, well, let's backtrack. What is considered a good score on the Wonderlic?
It's out of 50.
Oh,
So
look at you.
anything
You're
over
you're like a center.
like
Don't centers usually grade out the best because they have to read the
people
defense.
from Harvard usually do, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe centers do. I don't know. I mean, there was I think it was somebody from Florida State got a 4 one time.
Sick.
Which is not great. And I will say that his 40 time was probably less important than that Wonderlic score. No, we had to take the Wonderlic at Houston's when I first applied.
What?
Yeah, I don't mean it's because it's like an aptitude test, and the whole point of it is like you shouldn't be able to answer all 50 questions. It's like problem solving, all this but I'd already taken it this is like 2010, so we took it again in 2018. Yeah, and I got a 47. I'm not going to take it ever again. That's like my Deion Sanders moment.
Yeah, you go out on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the TV portion of the combine starts till later in the week, but the actual combine starts March 1st, which is tomorrow, Tuesday. So can't believe we're already in March, but that means we are that much closer to spring ball, spring practice, which means we'll be, as soon as spring games are over, you're going to get a whole new transfer portal season. Bunch of guys entering the portal.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Before we get to that, though, there's still stuff to talk about in the combine. So the SEC again leads the way with the most players invited. It was 82 total. I didn't even look and see how many were from the other conferences, but 82
I saw the ACC had 34, which is good compared to the SEC.
Yeah, that's not bad. Let's see if we can bring it up real quick. 82 of the 324 total players. Just off the top of my head here, 82 divided by, that's 25% of the overall players. A little bit over 25%. Like 25.8%.
Look at you. You're good
Do
at
the math.
It's a Wonderlic. You're a Wonderlic guy.
Yeah, big Wonderlic guy. Just like somebody said I was like the Greg McElroy of podcasts, and it really, really upset me. So
why's that?
I mean, I'm not going to get into it.
What did they mean by that, though?
I think he got a 48.
Oh, okay. So it was purely Wonderlic related.
Yeah, it's absolutely Wonderlic related. Now, I will say right now that I was a better athlete than Greg McElroy in my prime. Flat out.
What about 40?
I ran a 6.69 60. So that's like the equivalent of, nice. I also ran it in soccer cleats instead of baseball shoes or baseball cleats, which is not illegal, but it's not legal. Nobody noticed. None of that matters. What is it?
This is the numbers. This is the numbers. 82 SEC athletes. The next closest is the Big Ten with 54. I did notice that one of our affiliates here, Saturday Tradition, commented SEC in the Big Ten and the kids. What I would disagree with there is that they're nearly 30 players behind the SEC, so I wouldn't really include them in the. They'd probably be more with the kids than the adults.
I'm not. I think our new social media guy is awesome, and I love him to death. He's doing a great job. That's all I'm going to say. I will say there are some, like, most of the designs have been like just repurposed. Is that the way to say it? From ones I've made in the past. Yeah. Which I thought was funny. But no, he's doing a great job. So I'm not going to argue with that at all.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Hold on, go through all of them real quick from the Power 5.
All right, so you've got the SEC at 82, the Big Ten with 54, and then in consecutive order, Pac-12, Big 12, ACC, 36, 35, 34.
Okay, so actually pretty close too. So what stands out most to me, Georgia has 14 fucking invites.
I don't know if you watched last season. They had a pretty good team.
They did. And I think it's going to be real exciting to see where some of these kids go. Like, I remember like last year, you talk about, maybe it was the year before. Who was the linebacker? It might've been Errol Thompson. I can't remember if it was him or not. It was a Mississippi State linebacker. He had a fantastic combine, bumped his way up to like the second round. Obviously there are some things that like people overvalue in the combine that probably don't matter as much. I will say that the fact that Georgia has 14, and you talk about guys like Quay Walker. I'm just gonna go through it real quick. Like a guy like James Cook, he's a projected like 4th or 5th rounder right now, I think, which is insane to me. That is ridiculous. Nakobe Dean doesn't really need to do anything to like bolster his stock. I don't think Darian Kendrick does either. Pickens is invited, which is crazy.
Pickens, I'm really interested to see what happens to him because outside of that injury, I mean, he's one of the better athletes out there at receiver, but he just has very little production when it comes to like being a top pick.
That's true. I think that he would have been a bona fide, like surefire first rounder if he had a full season. Like
at least second rounder, yeah.
But I mean, Quay Walker, Channing Tindall, and Travon Walker, they're all like obviously in order right here from just listed alphabetically. Those are guys that like they rotated so many people, right? And they didn't get near like the pub that Nakobe Dean did at linebacker, and obviously a guy like Jordan Davis did on the defense as well. But those are guys that like aren't household names, but could easily be first off like 8-10 year career guys in the NFL or like day one starters and slide their way up into like the top 1 or 2 rounds. Those are fantastic athletes. Also, somebody said on Twitter the other day, it might've been the best linebacking core in the history of college football. And I wanted to argue it, but I don't know if I can. So other things that stand out, Evan Neal is not going to participate, which is, I don't think he needs to. He's going to be a top 3 pick. Derek Stingley. And people are going to disagree with this, but Derek Stingley, I don't know if there is, besides like me with my weight, I don't know if there's anyone that has held on to what they did their freshman year of college more than Derek Stingley.
Well, it's the George Pickens argument, but the fact that he's still getting basically considered to be the number 1 corner on the board. I'm like, where's his production? He's barely played.
Well, he had a fantastic season in his freshman year, right? Yeah. And no one's arguing that. No one's arguing that. But I'll say that the fact that he has somehow built like this entire, like, I don't say career, but like, I think that's a guy that probably needs to participate at the combine. I mean, if he's a top 10 pick, and it like in most projections he is, and I would love for the Falcons to get him flat out. If he's a top 10 pick, then don't do it. But I don't see like it's a guy that has been out of like the league, or not out of the league, but hasn't played the entire season and then left the team and was like started his training early. At one point, like there's at one point he was not even like with it. When I was there for the LSU Auburn game, he was not on the sidelines. I don't get it.
You can't rule out the freshman year production, and you can't. Obviously, he's got great size. I think he's 6'1", 190. But
so am I on dating apps.
I don't know. Like to me, I got to see more. Like it seems like did he opt out in 2020?
No, he played in 2020, but he got like.
So there's my point exactly. It's like I didn't even know if he opted out. Like I didn't hear much about him. And then this year, was he injured? And like I don't know the story. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but like how hard did he try to come back? Like these are things I just don't know.
And there's no reason for him to come back because he was definitely going to be a first rounder either way. It just surprises me that like it's not even Derek Stingley that is like the culprit of it that surprises me the most. It's like all of like people that know a lot more about football than me, but like I don't know. It seems like everyone has just kind of been like, yeah, you know what? We saw in 2019 how good he could be. And he was also, that's a team that was loaded. That's what I don't understand the most is like, that's a team with the most draft picks ever in NFL draft history. They had 14 players drafted. They had a fantastic secondary and like statistically not a great defense, but a lot of good players on that defense. And just kind of confuses me. Who do you think, and I'm saying this from the SEC standpoint, you can, talk about like maybe bigger picture stuff if you want, but who are you most excited or who do you think has like the best chance to make themselves some money this week?
What's interesting, I think Charles Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State, like, I mean, he was a 5-star, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he got a lot of publicity playing for Mississippi State. I think he's got a chance to surpass Neal as the number 1 tackle taken. I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah. I think top 10 guy for sure.
Yeah, I think if you're talking, my biggest thing that I'm interested to watch is not only the first quarterback taken, but like how many quarterbacks go in the first round, because typically you're looking at, 4, 5 guys in the first round. This year's crop, man, like I guess Kenny Pickett might be the best guy, like
There was
maybe
a scout
Corral.
a while ago that said there's not a single future starter in this class. Like the best one is probably Pickett, and you like the thing. I
If
heard this
you're a
today.
bad team, it's like look at next year's crop. You got Bryce, you got CJ Stroud. Just off the top, you got 2 that are much better than any of the guys in this draft.
That's fair.
So I just that'll be interesting because there's barely any drafts where you see no quarterbacks taken in the first round or 1 or 2.
There will be at least 4 taken, I guarantee you.
You think?
I mean, because it always is. There always is. I mean, maybe not. Like, hold on. Let's just
Sam Howell. You taking Sam Howell? I mean,
I'm not. But here's the thing, though. I was listening to this today on 680 The Fan. Anybody that lives in Atlanta, it's actually pretty fun because I haven't listened to like the afternoon show in forever because I work from home. But Lois Medina, friend of the pod, he was talking about like what the Falcons should do at the quarterback spot, right? And he was going through all the teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback, whether this year or like their quarterback is at the end of their, their contract. They got 1 year left. There's arguably 16 total of the 32 teams. Half of them like are in the market for a quarterback. So that's why I think there's probably going to be a decent amount.
But like Malik Willis, let's take Malik Willis for example. Like
he'll be a first rounder,
right? And like if you're I guess at 8. I mean, I would never take Malik Willis at 8. But like, okay, let's say let me look down the draft here. Let's say you're the Saints and you don't really have a QB of the future. I mean, would you take Malik Willis in the first round and feel really good about that?
Where are they at in the draft?
18.
I probably would. Again, I'm not a smart man. Like I've made.
I mean, he's got a big arm. He's a mobile QB, but I mean, it's not like he lit up the world at Liberty. Like he was good last year. I think it felt like he took a step back this year. And I mean, I don't know.
Hold on. Let's look at this real quick. We're talking about. This is from PFF, and there's not a more trusted source in football than PFF. It says right here that Malik Willis had 97.8 as his grade for throws outside the tackle. I'm making this up. It's just like they do.
I was about to say, damn, that's a pretty good grade.
Okay, so 1 through what? They got Charles Cross here at 6. Evan Neal at 3.
I think a guy that can make himself a lot of money is George Pickens, though. Like if he comes out and puts up ridiculous numbers, which I think he's very capable of doing. I mean, you can't teach his size and speed combo. He's got to be healthy, but he just hasn't shown it on the field. And I get it, like I just sat here and bashed Stingley for like potentially not really trying that hard to be on the field, and I think people quickly forget that Pickens.
I was not saying that, to be clear.
Yeah, I was, and I was insinuating.
Yeah.
Pickens, I think people forget, had like a terrible attitude 2 years ago before the injury and all that. Like, wasn't that the rumor?
Matured. Yeah, well, and he sprayed water on some kid's face, something like that. We went out of bounds. But I think also he was a freshman and he's grown a lot. Like, I'm not holding anything against these kids from like if somebody they're under such a microscope, right? That like I can't imagine the dumb shit that would have like surfaced like from our team in college. These are my best friends. We were terrible. I wasn't. I was a great kid. I just want to throw that out there. But we had some terrible people on the team. And like, I just can't imagine living under a microscope for that long. And this is a kid that's had to do it since high school. So Pickens, possibly. I think he's less than a year removed from his torn ACL. I'll be interested to see where Jameson Williams goes. Because of that. But okay, I'm looking at this again. Malik Willis, 12 to the Vikings.
Okay. All right. I mean, to me, I'm just not like, if I'm a Vikings fan, like I'm not excited about that pick. Like I guess there's upside for sure, but like, damn, that's high. I'd feel much better if I was at 12 in the second round and I got Willis. But I don't know.
Sam Howell is the only other one. So you are right to an extent where you talk about having only like one or two guys taken. I still say there's going to be three. I can't imagine an NFL draft where the quarterback position is not like prioritized or overblown, and you always see it. Now, real quick, I will say this: the fact that the Falcons have the number 8 pick, and this is what the whole thing was.
They're going to take George Karlaftis out of Purdue and just piss me off.
So I would love Stingley to drop to them. And there was, a lot of talk about how they could make some trades for someone that does want to get a quarterback. I don't know. I don't think you're drafting a quarterback though at 8 at all.
No.
No one is.
I'd be pissed if they did.
So they're talking about they're going to go like the defensive route, and they're going to take a cornerback. So I've seen a lot of projections, like I said, with
they had the number 2 rated corner last year in AJ Terrell.
So yeah, get another person like locked down the other side. I don't know. This is what it says. It says there's going to be 3 cornerbacks taken in the top 10. You tell me which one of the Falcons are going to take, just based off of
probably
everything we've ever learned from them. Right. Number 7, Derek Stingley. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner from Cincy, and Trent McDuffie from Washington.
Oh, corners. I thought you said quarterbacks. What do they have projected, or who do I think they would take?
Who do you think they would take out of those 3?
Definitely McDuffie. No doubt about
1,000%. That's who they have projected.
Pac-12. I mean, just some. I'm surprised it's not someone from the Mountain West.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the Falcons, but they just refuse to ever do things that we like. Okay, I'll say this too, real quick. Just going through some of these names that I think have a really good chance of what do you call it? Where's the damn thing go? A really good chance of being able to improve their draft stock. Where'd it go? Hold on. Jalen Weidermeyer, for one, because I think he kind of fell off a lot of people's radar for no reason. Sam Williams, guy from Ole Miss, who, he had a tremendous season, but it was overshadowed so much by Will Anderson and probably Georgia's defense as well.
Traylon Burks he could be the first receiver taken.
He probably should be too. Okay, so another guy. What's his name? Where'd it go? Hold on. Cade Mace is gone? LeBrian Ray from Alabama. So former fringe 4 and 5 star. Always had huge expectations. Either was banged up or just not good enough, I guess, to start any of his 4 or 5 years he's been there. But still, every single year, a very high ceiling projected guy. Now maybe that's overblown because he was a 5-star coming out of high school, or a high 4-star. But that's a guy that could improve his stock a whole bunch. Khair Elam. Now if I'm him, I wouldn't even participate. I would sit that one out. Dontario Drummond. Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't think
he's not a first rounder, is he?
He's projected at 30. I don't know.
My hope is that if I'm speaking as a Falcons fan, that either if Howell, Corral, or probably those 2 drop to the second round, I'm trading up to get one of those guys, because I think that's a fine second round pick.
Yeah, the fact that Corral fell off the map so much is kind of crazy to me. God, Georgia just is everywhere with this. I already mentioned those, the players from there. Chris Allen, he was a 5-star.
American Idol. Oh,
yeah, Live Like You Were Dying.
Yeah.
No, Chris Allen. I'm pretty sure they spelled his name wrong. He was the kid number 4 that tore his ACL in the very first game. I think he had 2 sacks against Miami.
I'm just gonna say it. The fact that Chris Allen won American Idol over Adam Lambert, one of the biggest American travesties of all time.
We're not going to get into politics, but I'll tell you, the day I lost faith in the voting system
in general
is when Philip Phillips won American Idol. That kid had 1 pitch. He had a, and
it was just being Dave Matthews.
It was just being Dave Matthews. It was like he had one pitch. It was a fastball, and it was fucking 88 miles an hour. And they were like,
he crushed it though.
He's so adorable.
I mean, he took that pitch out of the park every single time it was delivered, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, if you love just gravelly
to me as we go.
Gravelly,
we gotta get Philip Phillips on the pod.
We could probably do that. He's probably not doing much.
He's probably a Georgia fan, right? He's from Georgia.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Anyway, we've definitely lost track of what we were talking about. Velus Jones, another guy. Josh Jobe from Bama. I think I've mentioned way too many Bama ones. I'm interested to see what Jamari Sawyer would do because I think he was very underrated and I think he could be very.
How about Devontae Wyatt?
Yes, absolutely. Isaiah Spiller's another one, and I might just be overvaluing SEC players if we're being honest. But yeah, there's a lot there. I think it would be pretty interesting. So
one thing I will say is, if you are a newer listener to the pod, you don't want to miss our draft props pod because we absolutely kill that.
We did do well with that, yeah.
Who was the guy with the cats? Tristan Wirfs.
Tristan Wirfs.
He ended up being one of the best tackles in the league. And we went over 2.5 cats. And he had
1.5. And it was
1.5, and he had 2.
Yeah.
Go, baby.
It might have
and we said it before. We said it before. We were judging players solely on their names. Who would be a cat guy? And we said Tristan Wirfs, and he was the guy that had 2.
The guy that can jump literally out of a swimming pool, like the 3-foot deep swimming pool, and somehow onto like the side of it's ridiculous. But yeah, also a big cat guy. Listen, there's probably a bunch of other ones that we have probably overlooked, and there's just a lot of good SEC talent I'm excited to watch coming up with the combine. So that's pretty much it for that. Just from a football standpoint, I think the only news that I really saw this week is our favorite former D coordinator.
Oh yeah.
Georgia fans just keep winning, man. They were very excited about this.
Just like Bobo's back at Georgia, ready to take over as an offensive analyst. Todd Grantham back in the SEC. This time, he brings his talents to Tuscaloosa.
Jesus. Todd Grantham is going to be.
You know that the first busted touchdown that Bama gives up next year, people shouldn't have hired Grantham. I told y'all.
So here's the thing. He's an analyst. And I was trying to.
I don't care what he is.
Okay. I was trying to explain this on Twitter. I was like, because Georgia fans were having a field day with this, right? And hiring Todd Grantham to be your defensive coordinator right now, not a great move. Hiring Todd Grantham to be an analyst at like a discount and for like 30, I don't know what, 30 grand tops, like, cause he's still getting paid from Florida. That's fine. Like I'm fine with that. As long as he's not heavily influenced into the decision-making, I'm fine with that. God, please. I really hope he's not though.
Tell yourself whatever you want, buddy.
Like, can you imagine, like most of those analysts, I would assume, and that I know there's like the whole coaching rehab thing at Bama, but like most of those analysts are pretty young, I would assume, right? The people that are going to be interacting with most are pretty young. Can you imagine a less likable person to have to work like a Saturday with than Todd Grantham?
I was going to say that like Pete Golding's probably pissed, but he actually is probably happy because now people, instead of blaming everything on him when things go like slightly awry, people will just blame it on Todd Grantham, even though
that's probably true, actually.
Not even on the sideline.
My favorite part of this whole thing is the fact that it shouldn't be news, but it's the offseason and it's Todd Grantham, and he had a horrible 2020, which is saying a lot. Like he might have had the worst 2020 out of.
And there was a lot of bad 2020s out there.
Yeah. So, like the fact that this got brought up, my favorite part was when Georgia fans, like I made the joke about like if they hired him to be like an actual D coordinator, that would be like a horrible hire.
Yeah.
But as an analyst, like, you know, at a discount, I don't think it is. Watching them then double down on the whole take and talk about how when he was at Georgia, like, well, when he was, 2012, 2013, he was considered one of the brightest minds in the country. And I was like, oh, here we go. The one that actually does bum me out, and I think it's overlooked, but it should be like the biggest story here, is that Bama lost Director of Sports Science Matt Ray to to the Saints. And that guy is the one who came in basically and replaced Coach, what's his name?
Cochran?
Yeah. Yeah. We have had a lot less injuries. Like, for instance, we didn't have an entire group of linebackers tear an ACL, which is a real thing that happened in 2017.
But you did have an entire group of receivers that did, though.
Okay, I'm not doing this with you. Like, non-contact, yeah. No, but he's like, he had a very different, like, I guess, system and style. It was honestly really cool. He was the one that was behind that video of what's Evan Neal doing, like the split squat jump. At like,
oh yeah.
Anyway, so that should be the only news there. Anything else that we're missing here?
No, I think we're gonna be getting a lot more steady information starting next week with all these spring practices kicking off.
Yeah.
You know, we'll maybe get some insight, although, you know, a lot of these coaches, they don't like to reveal much during the spring. But yeah, man, exciting. Football's starting to kick back up, which is good.
Yeah.
Especially if we don't have baseball. Got to give a shout out. So I'm drinking some bourbon while we record. Got to give a shout out to a guy in my fantasy baseball league, Dan. Look, this guy lives up in
Mike,
New Jersey. He just sent me random bottles with numbers on them. He's a big
don't
bourbon
drink
guy.
That. Don't
and he
drink
was like,
that at all.
I think it says cyanide on it. What? I think it's
how
sick
people
new
die.
bourbon. He sent me bottles with numbers on them. He's like, you try to guess what they are. Because he's a big bourbon guy and I'm getting into bourbon. So shout out Dan. Drinking the bourbon here. Getting more into it. It's a great time to get into it when it's like so super expensive and hard to find.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just like everything.
Just like everything, man. Don't even get me started on gas. Thanks a lot, Bin Laden. Yeah, I'm kidding. So, like, what was I going to say? Oh, I also want to give a shout out to one of our listeners. We went to actually a couple people. So me, producer Dan, which is definitely his name.
What's up, producer Dan? Our guy.
And producer Dan, and what was in Candler? I don't know how I'm drawing a blank here. Candler, like our Georgia buddy, the one that's like, just without fail, just the nicest dude ever. Just the nicest dude ever. And he's like, every time like we're at like a game, he goes, "Do you want to come down to the suite?" And I'm like, I can't say no, but I feel
yes.
Do you want to bring this riffraff in there? Anyway, we all went to Clay Walker. Early 90s country is my shit. And it was a fantastic concert. A lot of Georgia fans, a lot of How About Them Dogs during the concert.
Sure
which actually
good.
I started doing as well, just because there was a hot girl in front of me that was a Georgia fan. And it was a lot of fun. Afterwards, we went to this bar that was like right next to it, and we're just hanging out talking. And this guy is like looking at me, and I could tell he has recognized me, which is, in my opinion, I'm not saying this to be funny. Right? It's very flattering. It's one of my favorite things.
I've never got that when I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very forgettable face and personality, and it's just like, you know. I'm kidding.
I know.
So, well, yeah, you don't really do that much.
That's true.
So the guy's like looking at me, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? This guy, is he gonna hit me? Because whenever somebody says they recognize me, I just assume, like, they come out and they say, "Are you Chris Marler?" I'm like, am I about to get punched because of my past? And no, I did not get punched. He was a listener, great dude. Had a blast with him. Had a couple of drinks, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So shout out to Jeff Williams. It was nice to meet you.
And then you peed your pants.
No, let's get into that though. This is the uncensored moment of the week.
Yeah, uncensored moment of the week. Let's do this.
Listen, and if anyone has a story about this, please send it to us. I swear to God, it'll be anonymous. We will not say a word about it. But one of the most ridiculous conversations I've ever had this weekend, I'm hanging out with a buddy, good buddy of mine. And he just very casually and nonchalantly, like, we've been hanging out for hours. He goes, "Oh yeah, I told you that. I told you I pissed my pants on the way home the last time we hung out." And I was like, "You absolutely did not. You did not tell me that at all, because I would have remembered that, because we're adults." And so he starts telling me the story. He goes, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think this happens like more often than you think. And I was like, with pregnant women, absolutely. It absolutely, and children, and people with, I don't know, over 90 that can't control it. And I was like, where were you?
It
like, how
depends.
There it is. That's our sponsor of the week. Shout out to Depends.
Oh, that's a throwback. I guess we can't do it on this big of a platform. Remember on our old podcast when we said have fake sponsors?
Yeah, we could do that for sure. I want to do that every time. Anyway, so he's telling me the story. I'm like, he's like, well, I took the GPS to go home, and it was like, it took me the wrong way. And so I was like 40 minutes extra in the car, or like 20 minutes extra in the car. I was like, well, how far are you from home? Like, did you almost make it? And you were like running in? And he was like, no, like 20 minutes. And I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, you live in a very developed area in Atlanta, like up 75, not that far from where the Brave Stadium is. There are multiple places you could have stopped. Also, we're men, so you can just pull over on the side of the highway. And it wasn't rush hour traffic. Yeah. I love peeing outside. I don't care how that sounds. There's like, it wasn't rush hour traffic. There was no excuse for this. So I decided to like throw out a Twitter poll and Instagram poll of asking people if they have ever peed their pants on a road trip just because of like, they couldn't hold it anymore. It was like 90-10, like 90 no. But some of the stories people volunteered to tell us were fucking hilarious.
So first off, if this friend of yours is a listener to the pod, he's probably this whole time thinking, oh God, please, please, please do not say my name.
I'm not going to. Don't start. I'm not going to. It was Todd Grantham. So I should just do is just throw out like a Georgia fan on Twitter that I can't stand. It was Pat B, whatever. Anyway, so he's telling me the story, and I'm like, well, hold on. Like, did you pull over? What did you, because you're just sitting in your pee pants for 20 more minutes. And I was like, what did you do when you got back to the apartment? Because you had to like go up the stairs. There's probably people around. He's like, I tied a sweater around my waist, like, Eddie Vedder in the 90s, like Pearl Jam. I was like, okay, solid move there. Like I've definitely.
But then you got to explain, like,
I don't think he was going to talk to anybody or stop. I'm sure he's also pretending to be on the phone. There's no way those two did not go hand in hand. I've definitely peed into like a bottle or a cup on a road trip.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I've never peed my pants since I was maybe 4. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
so this led to a lot of people telling us stories. And also, I don't want to deter anyone from sharing their story, but if you voted on Instagram, it does show you who voted. So to the 12 people that said yes on Instagram, I have the upper hand in our friendship forever. But I want to share with you the funniest story that I heard. Okay. And also to be clear about this, if you share the story and it's funny, like we will definitely put it on the pod. In no way do I want to hear poop stories ever. So this is the text I got from somebody. They said, dude, this is right after I posted it. I was like, yes, sir. He said, I worked all night on an AT&T commercial up near the Mall of Georgia. It was 7 a.m. when I got in my car when I was headed home. It took me 2.5 hours because of rush hour traffic. I was sleepy as fuck and stopped at a QT to get a 64-ounce Coke. Now, listen, If you're at the QT, go ahead and pee for one. Yeah. And I just wrote, oh God, because I knew where this is going. I absolutely knew where this is going. He said, it was about 30 minutes from home and just wanted to get to bed. And we were hosting a Christmas party for friends that night, just a random tidbit. I said, no, please tell me this didn't happen. He said, I pissed in a cup, went to throw it out the window.
Oh, no.
Okay, so when you do, like,
was he traveling at a fast speed?
He didn't tell me what the speed was, because that would be a fun SAT question. Like, if so-and-so is traveling this way, and so-and-so is about to piss their pants at 76 miles an hour. But like, have you ever done this thing? This is embarrassing, but like the fat kid thing where you pull up to a fast food restaurant and before they give you your food and drink, you're pouring out what's left of a different fast food drink from before.
I don't think I've been in that situation.
I did that twice last week alone. Anyway, so if you're pouring it out, the natural motion here is just with your left hand. Yeah. And thumb goes down and you just pour it out forward. He said, I've never done this before. This is his first time. I turned the cup towards the front of the car. Pee went everywhere. Which at that point I knew what the story was going to be. He said pee went everywhere. And then he said the same text again in all caps, everywhere. He said dashboard, period. Window, period. Passenger seat, period.
Oh.
My eyes.
Oh.
And I just lost it. It's like, I don't blame him for the mistake, because it's like, that is the natural motion. But when he said my eyes, it was just like, I just got this vision of like, my eyes.
Yeah, he was traveling at a fast speed for sure.
Without a doubt. I had to clean up with Armor All wipes. I had to, because I was too embarrassed to walk into another gas station smelling like urine at 8:15 on a Friday morning. And I called him immediately, and he said, sorry, in bed watching TV with the wife. And I just, man. I said, listen, I've been kind of down today. I had not the greatest night. This was incredible, and I really appreciate that. So shout out to that listener. If you have any more hilarious pee pants stories, let us know.
Yeah, and if you want to get some more visuals, go to the YouTube Saturday Down South.
Please go there.
We're trying to build our followers there, so go check us out. We do all of our podcasts on video.
Hold on, we're also trying to keep my job. More importantly, that's my new role with the company. It would mean a lot if you guys went and subscribed.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, and we got a bunch of other video clips on there as well, not just our pod. So go check it out, Saturday Down South on YouTube. Appreciate you listening. Hey, just a reminder, we haven't said it in a while, but go give us a ranking on iTunes.
Not a ranking, but a review.
Or like a rating.
Yeah,
5 stars. Maybe a review. I noticed that we are up again in Cambodia this week. So
why are we? I think this is the guy I went to college with.
Yeah, we're trending in Cambodia like every once in a while.
Like Fanbodia, dude. And real quick to like the OG listeners that have been here for a long time, talking about the stuff that's on YouTube. We are trying to put out like new content, and so we're putting out at least one video a day. And again, this is how I keep my job. So it would be great if you guys went and subscribed. And it's been a lot of fun for one, but if you are an OG listener and you guys, this is not anything rude to you, I love you. And I'm very happy with us doing the podcast. But if you enjoyed the, what do you call it? Reunion episodes. If you were someone that wants more of that, me and Connor do a episode every single week on Wednesdays called Cast Interference. That was my fun. And it's a lot of fun. So you guys go check that out as well. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening. Go check out the YouTube, and we will see you next week.